Is it necessary to take vitamins and supplements separately? Are they even necessary at all? If so, under what circumstances and which ones? If you're interested in knowing more about this, please keep watching the video. Vitamins and minerals, what we call minerals, like calcium, sodium, potassium, and so on, magnesium, and things like that, just like everything else, need to be within a minimum and maximum range in the body. They have to be within a certain range. If they're below that, it's a deficiency. If they're above that, it's toxicity from that same element or vitamin. Meaning, even though the human body needs magnesium, say, up to a certain amount per day, if we consume more than that, magnesium toxicity occurs, which has its own specific symptoms. It actually becomes a medical condition. The same goes for copper, for iron, for everything. So, just like the results and lab reports you get for, I don't know, blood sugar, cholesterol, and all that other stuff, this is the same thing. So, and we shouldn't just assume we're deficient in something and diagnose it ourselves. For example, it's become really common for people to say, "Hey, my hair is falling out a lot," especially women. Then they go and, take something, like, they start taking zinc. Well, do you actually know if you're low on zinc or not? Well, we don't know. IT needs to be determined by a blood test, or a doctor needs to look at other symptoms, and consider the whole picture to see if you actually have a zinc deficiency or not. You can't just decide to do this yourself simply because you feel like your hair is falling out a lot. Determining whether hair loss is excessive or not, and if it is, what the cause might be, definitely needs to be examined by a doctor. It could be hormonal issues. It might even be a deficiency in something else entirely. It could be, for example, anemia, or something else entirely. So, yeah, that's the wrong way to go about it. Anyway, I used the hair loss example, but it's the same for everything else. Anything else that people tell you is good for something, what does good even mean? Like, what does good actually mean? Does it mean if I eat 10 tons of it, it's better? If I don't have a deficiency, what does good even mean? For example, it's like saying the body needs protein to build muscle. Then we take that sentence and say, protein is good for building muscle. What does good even mean? Good doesn't mean anything. Because when we say it's good, people immediately and subconsciously think, well, if I consume more of this, it's better, because it's good. It's not good, it's essential, and it's necessary up to a certain point. That's it. Its definition is something else entirely. What I'm trying to say is that changing sentences like this is the job of advertising agencies. It's the job of commercial trading companies. They produce all sorts of commercial and trading products, all kinds of colors, as they say, and they have to sell them, right? And then, in our country or some other countries, where something else called traditional medicine also gets layered on top of this, well, you go and the person gets confused. For example, on one side you see pharmaceutical companies, let's say, or what do they call it? You've got these big companies on one side, and on the other, you see these fly-by-night operations saying this thing is good for that, this is good for this, and this is good for that. Saying it's good doesn't mean anything. You have to investigate what the cause is. Whatever you want to consider, shouldn't we first understand the cause? It's like, say someone feels that, their car's power, their engine, is lacking. They say, man, this car's got no guts. Just an example, right? Or it doesn't have any acceleration, right? Then someone comes along and says, hey, dump this in the gas tank. It's good for the car's acceleration. What does good for the car's acceleration even mean? Don't you first need to figure out what's causing that lack of acceleration or lack of power? Well, there isn't just one cause, right? One thing can't fix everything. One key doesn't fit every lock, you know. So, if my car lacks power or acceleration, I need to go to a mechanic to see, for example, if it's the air intake, the fuel, like, is it not getting enough air? Is it not getting enough fuel? Are the spark plugs working properly? Then they might say, look, you've got a 4-cylinder car, and 2 of your spark plugs aren't even working at all. It's running on just 2 spark plugs. They replace the 2 spark plugs, the 2 that were broken, and the issue is fixed. What does it even mean to say, eat this for acceleration? No, pour this in your car. It's good for acceleration. It's exactly the same story. Please, pay attention. Think about it for a second. Well, for those who, anyway, I don't know, aren't getting the point, I really can't explain it any better or more clearly than this. So, let's take vitamin D, for example, right? A lot of Iranians have a vitamin D deficiency, but get tested first. It's that simple. A lot of these vitamins and minerals, the minerals that are vital for the body, if they're missing, we run into all sorts of trouble, but having too much of them also causes all sorts of trouble. It needs to be exactly in the middle, right where it should be. Too much of it leads to toxicity and all kinds of symptoms, and a deficiency causes problems too. So, who's supposed to figure out where that is, or whether it's exactly in the middle, within that range, between the minimum and maximum, meaning, is it at a normal level or not? Well, for vitamin D, you go get a test and say, hey, I have a deficiency. Now, there's mild deficiency, moderate deficiency, and severe deficiency. You'd be surprised. For example, vitamin D, which let's assume should be, say, 30. In one person it might be 5, in another it might be, say, 20 or 15. Well, 15 is also a deficiency. So, we have mild deficiency, moderate, and severe. Right. And depending on that, first we need to determine whether a deficiency actually exists or not. 2. If it does exist, is it mild, moderate, or severe? And then, based on that, the doctor will prescribe vitamin D for you. There are vitamin D ampoules, 50,000 unit pearls, and 4,000 unit, 2,000 unit, and 1,000 unit tablets available as well. Based on how deficient the person is, the doctor will put together a treatment plan for them. They'll tell you that you need to take this amount for, say, a month, 2 months, or 3 months. Then, you'll have to come back and get tested again to see where things are at, to see if it's reached that normal level or not. Anyway, that's how it gets sorted out. You can't just say, for example, my stomach is upset. Well, upset isn't a medical condition, is it? That upset feeling is just what the patient says, what the person says. If they're feeling upset, they need to see a doctor to figure out what's causing it. Is it a spasm? Erosion? Is it inflammation, an ulcer? Is there bleeding or not? Is it actually from the upper stomach valve, the lower stomach valve? Is it from the secretory system? Is it from the, muscular system? What is it actually? It's just like that car acceleration example. If you ask a mechanic right now, they could give you 100 different reasons. Then the mechanic has to take a look, run some tests, and say, look, out of those 100 things, this is the problem. Until the problem is identified, how do you expect to treat it? I've mentioned this many times in my own group when friends ask questions in the Telegram group. I say, they ask, hey, for example, my head hurts. Just like that video I made, there's a video with the exact title, My Head Hurts, What Should I Take to Get Better? Look, for a headache, we first need to determine if it's a migraine, high blood pressure, vision issues, a tension headache, a stress headache, or even a brain tumor, or high BL, what is it? How can you just give a treatment? Why a painkiller? A painkiller like acetaminophen, codeine, plain acetaminophen, Anaprox, just take a painkiller and it'll quiet the pain. Jenner, what does that even mean? Do I just want to quiet the pain? Is that all I want to do, just quiet the pain, assuming there's no underlying issue? Well, yeah, that's fine. You don't need to ask a doctor for that. You can just go buy acetaminophen anywhere starting tomorrow and it'll get better. Take it every 8 hours, every 6 hours, and it'll get better. That pain will go away. Generally, 80% of the time it's like that. 90% of the time it's like that. Okay, but if you really want to find out what the cause of an issue is, it has to be examined. A medical history needs to be taken. Okay, so vitamins and minerals are the same way. You shouldn't take them on your own. Now, I mentioned this here, but there's a type of on your own that I'll talk about at the end of the video. That on your own is a different story. Okay. The reason we fall into this trap, is a mental process. This mental process, please pay close attention here. The mental process is that subconsciously, everyone, even me, standing here on my soapbox giving everyone advice, humans are just wired to want to get results the easy way. It's like the human brain's default setting is just that. Well, that's fine, it's logical. Right. But we have to be careful, because you can't do that everywhere, for everything. Right. So, what does that mean? It means instead of, say, taking care of my health the right way, I just say, hey, this thing says it's good for the liver, this one's for the heart, this one's for, I don't know, muscle, this one's for skin, and I just buy it all. Like, I'll buy 10 or 20 different kinds and just take them all. Well, buddy, that's not good. This thing that says it's good for the heart, go check what the active ingredient actually is. Don't pay attention to the other guy's claims. It says in big letters, though, that it's good for the heart, but if you go and look at the fine print underneath, it says this product has no therapeutic or medicinal effect because they're required to write that, since it really doesn't. Okay. It doesn't. It's just for, I don't know, improving this or that, or whatever. Like, maybe as a supplement. Meaning, you've got to live your life, you've got to look after your own health, and this is just, on the side. See, it even says itself that this thing you might feel, or think, is going to be the guardian and protector of your health. It's not. It says it is at the top, but in the fine print at the bottom, it says it isn't. And you go and buy it. Right. The person says, look, I'll pay. I'll buy, 20 different kinds for my liver, stomach, intestines, and whatever else. And, I'll be, taken care of. My health will be secured. No, it won't. It won't work. That's not the way to do it. Who humans want to find a way. That's why they go looking for things that say, this is good for this, that is good for that, and so on. Right. Everyone knows. Nowadays, everyone knows what the secret to health is. Right. I'll say it once right here. Proper nutrition, enough physical activity, peace of mind, and routine checkups. Right. If a person does these 4 things, the routine checkups are just to make sure that none of those acts of God or bolts from the blue catch them off guard. It happens, especially at certain ages. Well, you can't really say any specific age. It happens at all ages. Right. Peace of mind is really important. I've made a video about the effects of worry, distress, and, let's say, anxiety and that sort of thing. It's being prepared right now, and I think I'll post it on the channel at the same time as this one, or maybe a day or 2 before. It's really important. Everyone knows what getting enough physical activity means, too, and everyone knows what eating right means, as well. So, that's that. But these 4 things are tough, because these 4 things are hard. All 4 of them are hard. Right. People just won't commit to putting their minds at ease. Right. Like making time for meditation. At the very least, if I'm living in a high-pressure environment like Iran, I should at least set aside half an hour a day to meditate. What am I supposed to do? I don't have any other choice, because when I step out of the house, 1,000 different pressures and miseries are bound to come my way. At the very least, I should find a corner somewhere, finally, to do half an hour of meditation, or yoga, or, let's say, all sorts of relaxation methods. It's necessary. It's important. There's no other choice, and it's more effective than a lot of these supplements and things. Because if we don't know, people often don't realize just how much the functioning of the body's organs is connected to the nervous and psychological systems. They know it's all connected, but they don't know how much. It's a lot. So, this whole thing, it should be important to me that when I want to go, let's get back to that discussion about supplements, it should be important for me to know whether my body actually needs it right now or not. If it doesn't need it and I take it, that's an extra burden on the kidneys, an extra burden on the liver, and, for example, if you take extra iron, all these ferrous sulfates, all kinds of iron supplements, they give it with folic acid, well, they give them together, but when I don't need it, I shouldn't be taking it. The iron goes and deposits in the liver cells, it deposits in various cells of the body. And it doesn't just break down, it doesn't go away. It's something that deposits very easily. Do you see what I mean? Fat-soluble vitamins like vitamins A, D, E, and K, or as we call it, vitamin K. Most of us might end up overconsuming vitamins A, D, and E based on that same misconception I mentioned. Right. These cause toxicity. They really do poison you. They practically poison the body, the whole body, and the symptoms of toxicity for each one are well defined. Just Google vitamin E toxicity and see for yourself. Google vitamin A toxicity and check out the symptoms. Alright, and for the last point I wanted to make, which I promised I'd get to, so what should we actually do? What should we be taking? Look, first off, we need to make sure our bodies don't end up with any vitamin deficiencies. We can manage that, and after all, we go see a doctor once a year, right? We go to our doctor. And now, even in Iran, we have family doctors. Actually, just our own family doctor, what we call a general practitioner in Iran. You say, hey, I want to see if my body has a vitamin B12 deficiency or not. For example, does it have B2 or not? Nowadays, there are tests for most of these. A simple blood test will tell you, hey, your B1, your B2, your B12, your vitamin D, or your vitamin E is low or missing. If you're in doubt. Or a doctor can tell you based on your symptoms that you might have a deficiency. Right. If not, well, you just get a test done and it'll be clear. If you do have a deficiency, like I said, a doctor needs to prescribe it for you. If you don't, you shouldn't be taking it. This shows that the amount you're getting naturally through your daily diet is enough for your body. Your body doesn't need any more. But there is something you can do, and that is that we have a multivitamin product, which I'm sure you've heard of. Whether it's for kids or for adults. We even have a multivitamin, for example, 50 plus for people over 50. And then we have separate ones for males and females. I mean for women and men. This is the right thing to do. This is the right. Now why is it right? See, a multivitamin has all the necessary things, trace elements, meaning substances that the body needs in very small amounts daily, but they are vital. Right. In addition to essential minerals and vitamins, the actual amount of nutrients included in a standard multivitamin is quite a small amount. That amount, if by chance the body faces a deficiency at some point, or over certain periods, acts as a buffer. It acts like a spare, for instance, and covers that deficiency. It covers temporary deficiencies, and since the amount isn't very high, if I take one multivitamin pill a day, it won't cause me any toxicity. So, therefore, the only, perhaps the best scenario if a person wants to actually have peace of mind is to get that checkup, do their routine thing. Whether it's every 6 months, once a year, whatever. So that if, for example, my vitamin D is low or really deficient, then I need to go get a vitamin D shot or get those 50,000 unit pearls and take them. Right. So that's a separate story. But normally, when the doctor tells me, no, you don't have any deficiencies, then I can just take a multivitamin for peace of mind, depending on my age. Whatever age I'm at, like I said, a regular adult one, or for kids for your child, or for seniors themselves, actually, or people over 50 or 60, whatever. Because when I mentioned they separate them for men and women, it's because women at older ages, for example, let's say, need more calcium. They might be prone to osteoporosis and things like that. All those things are calculated into that multivitamin. Meaning, whatever deficiency an older woman might be more likely to face, it's been accounted for in there, and that's good. Take this one. But don't go getting them separately for yourself. Because when you go and get, for example, vitamin E pearls or whatever, the amount in that is much higher than what's in a multivitamin. I mean, the vitamin E that's in a multivitamin is very low, just enough to cover it if, by any chance, there happens to be a slight deficiency. But the one you go and buy separately is for treatment, for when a doctor diagnoses that someone has a vitamin E deficiency and wants to give them vitamin E, or feels they need a higher amount of vitamin E, so the doctor prescribes it. But the individual themselves, well, they aren't a doctor to know. Then they take it, and it's just a waste of money, and they don't get any results either. Let's just assume, even if we set aside the symptoms of toxicity, many of us might say, hey, I've been taking vitamin E for a year now, for example, and nothing has happened to me. You say nothing has happened to you, but what if tomorrow your liver gets a bit enlarged, you develop hepatomegaly, your liver enzymes go up, you're not the one who's going to notice that. Right, you're just going about your life, but then you see the lab results and it's like that. Later on, you might not even tell the doctor that you were taking vitamin E. Then the doctor sees it and thinks, good grief, why does their liver seem like it's not doing well? You wouldn't think it's because you were putting extra strain on it with that vitamin E. So, it's not like you're going to notice everything that's happening. Therefore, the right way to go about it, if you want to take it, is just like this. And also, make sure to check that you don't have a deficiency. I said all this, but it doesn't mean, no, it's poison, don't take it. No. These are actually produced so that if someone needs them, they can be given them. However, who needs it and how much they need is something a doctor should determine. Best of luck. Thanks.